Hey guys, it's us again, Greg and David, and today we want to talk about Endure the Stars, a game by Grimlord Games.
We are big fans of sci-fi, space, dark themed games, especially cooperative ones, but so far we didn't have much luck with them.
Our latest game, which we bought, was a disaster, and we don't want to throw names, so I will just show you a picture of this game. And if you have any good recommendations about the games in that type, in that genre, just let us know in the comments, because we love sci-fi, and for now we didn't have a chance to play a good
game you mentioned is already covered here in this review. By the end of this review. But okay, coming back to Endure the Stars, what do you think about the game, and if this game is meeting our expectations? Let's find out. The game promises a quite tasty treat for sci-fi lovers. We have arts and means of heroes simulating our imagination with personas like psychic or AI in cyborg body. We have plenty of monsters miniatures reminding enemies from Doom video game. We have cliché yet still sounding very interesting sci-fi story of spaceship survivors referring to classic movies. We have genetic experiments and even fanatic factions standing in our way. And when all of this sounds nice and tempting, final execution is not sufficient. Story intros to each scenario sound very forced. Each location's boards look so similar that almost the same, and the potential of really good graphic art of the heroes is covered by low resolution of print and dimmed color of all components, giving the feeling game was laying on the sun for at least several weeks. When general immersion is so-so, there is one element of the game proudly standing out from the rest. Event cards are nothing innovative from a mechanical perspective. You just draw an event at the end of each round and implement its outcome. But what's cool here is what they are doing and how it fits the theme. With Fate life support, you and enemies lose 1 point of life. Without artificial gravity, your heroes move 2 squares instead of 1 during the same action. And if they shoot at the enemy, the kinetic force of the weapon pushes you back in a straight line to the nearest wall, and does the same to the enemy, just in the opposite direction. Each event is very climatic and cleverly uses the space sci-fi theme, serving very immersive situations during the session. Shame we only have 12 of them, although it's justified by the mechanics, because they are used to count rounds and to limit the maximum length of the session. For a core retail version of the game, we get a lot of miniatures of decent quality. Heroes design is a bit conservative, although we have some really cool ones like Psychic, for example. What I want to complain about here is the low variety of monsters. We get just a few types of them, every in the same position, plus a few bosses. Endure the Stars is very inspired by Zombicide, and Fight with Minions is almost identical. On your weapons cards you have info about the reach, how many dice you are using during attacks, which results give you success, and how much noise you generate using the attack. Sounds familiar? Up to this, you can loot every room in the game for the items, both weapons, armor, and other classic stuff like medkits. I'm not saying this clear inspiration of Zombicide was a wrong idea, but in some aspects it's just too clear. From nice new things, game introduces resolve cards. Each time your hero loses resolve points to a certain level, he needs to deal with negative effects on your cards, including different phobias and other stuff. Being aware of these penalties is often a key to your survival. But probably the most fun extra thing is Exoloader, a mecha suit your survivors can discover during missions. By piloting it, your hero gets a massive but temporal advantage over your enemies. Development of your heroes is very classic, and by classic I mean we saw this countless times. up to one active and one passive skill. Your hero have also ability he can launch once per entire scenario. So the medic is mostly healing, psychic can move opponents, etc. Those skills are permanent and you do not gain any new ones during the game, and we do not have any experience points. The development of your survivors is limited to the items you find during the mission and one random trait you gain by meeting the criteria shown on your hidden accomplishment card. The core game provides around 30 scenarios, 11 standalone ones, and the rest are divided into 5 mini campaigns. It's a really decent amount of content to play with, but the problem is that many of the missions are quite similar, and a variety of special rules and conditions is nothing sufficient in practice. Playing several scenarios in a row, you can feel the game is quite repetitive, sharing the same goal of just killing the enemies. Do not get me wrong, I know Dungeon Crawler is about that, but let's compare it to Cthulhu Death May Die. Still Dungeon Crawler, but with so many twists you can find yourself forgetting about it. If you have decided to play a campaign instead of a standalone scenario, you can count on some handicap between missions. By visiting the refugee you can heal wounds, meet with loved ones, make some shopping or stay in the quarters. But everything has a cost, so for every round you are staying at refugee, you have to draw special events, which can be positive but also negative for your team, resulting even in the death of some of your heroes. In practice, refugee mechanic is just a small board with some descriptions, several items and a humble event deck. But it's still better than nothing, so plus for adding this to the core box. Considering the fact that managing your hero is a really simple task, we enjoy our 2-player sessions where each of us gets 2 or even 3 heroes to take care of. If you are playing with more friends at the table, managing only one hero during session can be a bit underwhelming task, and you can find yourself staring a lot in your smartphone between the rounds. Sci-fi co-op games with a dash of cyberpunk don't have much luck so far, and we are still waiting for the game which satisfies our craving for a highly immersive, dark sci-fi co-op experience. Endure the Stars is not a particularly bad game, it's definitely way better than a similar human interface, but it's still a mediocre experience. If you share our hunger, you can give Endure the Stars a try. Theme is quite strong here despite the little plain gameplay. For now, we score Endure the Stars on 5.5 on 10 possible scratches. And if you are looking for something very story-driven with a massive campaign and more cyberpunk references, check out Hunter AD 2144. Mechanically is a bit clumsy but offers a huge world and lore. For dark space dungeon crawler you can not go wrong with Deep Madness, but this can be hard to buy cause it was distributed only through KS. That's all for today, see you at the next game.